Video 2 of weaving. I'm going to show you right now how to begin your weaving. In video 1, we saw how to create a loom. So you should have this step done. If you didn't do this yet, go to video 1, watch that one first, get this done, and then come back to this video. I am going to begin with some hot pink. And you want to give yourself enough. I usually say to my students, if you pinch and then stretch your arm off across your whole entire body, and then you stretch your other arm out, this is your wingspan, and that's a good amount of string to start with, especially as a beginning weaver. If it's any shorter, you're going to be spending a lot of time getting yarn and not a lot of time weaving, and if it's any longer, it might get knotted up. Okay, so here, first step is you're going to go on your first string, and you can start from either side, it doesn't matter. You go underneath your first string, pull and leave a little tail, and give yourself a knot, a double knot here. So to make a knot, you just cross this over, and the tail is, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it so you can see. The tail is underneath that string. The tail comes through the hole, and you pull. And do it again. So I'm going to put the string over my tail. The tail goes through the hole, and pull. 2 times is a double knot, and then you take your tail and you tuck it behind, floss those teeth, tuck it behind. Now you could just start weaving with this, but the problem is that this string sometimes comes undone. So what we like to do is either tape a popsicle stick, but I'm actually finding that the popsicle stick sometimes makes it even more difficult. So I would just do this kind of like a shoelace. So you take the end of your string that you're going to weave with, put your tape on it, and you fold it around itself nice and tight if you can, you know, be as tight as you can, because this is going to help you hold onto your string without it, like, you know, opening up and getting difficult to work with. Kind of like a shoelace, okay? Again, you don't have to do this, but I strongly recommend it, okay? All right. Now, this one is already done, so I'm going to say I'm going under this first one, and then over the second one. Under, over the next one. Under, over, and I'm going to end going under. Once you get to the end, you pull it through. Now you don't want to leave things hanging like this, but you also don't want to pull really tight either. So, you know, you want to pull so that your warp string doesn't start bending. Okay, now I ended underneath this string right here, this warp string. When I go to the next row, I have to make sure that I go opposite of how I ended. So if I ended under, then this one I need to go over and then under this one. Over, under, over, under, over. Pull it all the way through. Not too loose. That's too tight. Do you see how it's bending in? So if that happens, just pull on it a little. And then every time you weave, push it up. Now, I ended going over this string. So the next time when I'm coming back around, I gotta go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Pull it through. Too tight. Whoops, too loose. Just right. And push it up. It's going to be amazing how this becomes actually really fun and actually quite relaxing when you let yourself get into it. And I enjoy weaving very much. So I hope you guys like it. It's fun, and you can do a lot of really cool things. So I'm sorry, I should have said this. I ended going under, so I started going over, under, over, under, over, under, over. It's like a pattern. You guys are familiar with patterns at this point. If you're making this, you know patterns. Push it up. So I ended over. How do I need to start? Under. If you said that, you're right, and you're ready to start weaving. Okay? I am going to continue weaving And after that, I am going to show you how to change colors, which is so much fun, because then you get into your patterns. There's lots of fancy things you can do. So I'm going to try to go a little quickly right now. Still making sure that I'm not too loose and not too tight. I'm pushing it up. Ended going over, so I have to start going under, over, under, over. You can fast forward this part if you really don't want to watch it. If I can get fancy with my technology, maybe I can learn how to speed up my work. But right now, this is a really important thing. Don't keep going, because if you end up, you're going to have like this very tiny little tail, and it's going to be really hard for you. I say if it's your hand length, the length of this is your hand length, and maybe a little more, this is a good time to stop. It becomes very difficult to tie a new color on when you're working with, if you kept weaving and you're working with a very small string. So this is a good time, I think, to stop. I'm going to just leave that the way it is, and I'm going to go to another color. What color should I do? Let me do this really cool orange. Pinch it, stretch your arm out, stretch your other arm out. And now I'm noticing that that only gets me this much thickness. So if I want to go a little thicker with the orange, I want to make my string a little bit longer. Okay. These two are going to get tied up. So make an X. Right now, the orange one is underneath the pink, so the orange one's going to come around. And if you just keep pulling, you're just going to keep pulling, pulling, pulling. So on this, you just need to do it like that. And then on the next one, you're going to make your orange. My orange is underneath my pink, so my orange is the one that's got to go into the loop and pull. Tug it, make sure it's on real good. And that's that. That's how you keep going. And don't forget, every time that you add a new string, it would be a good idea to make a little shoelace end. And you only need a very short piece of tape. And I always like to put my yarn on the table and then stick it on the very edge of this tape that I have. Make sure it's stuck on there. Fold that little flap over first and then twist it around. And that's it. I mean, you just keep weaving with these new colors and have fun with it. I mean, make sure that you're, you know, paying attention to what you're doing. So now I ended going underneath this warp string. So this next one, I have to go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, and then pull. And when you pull, you're going to notice that you're pulling both colors. So this next row is going to be all pink, and that's okay, because when I go back, it's going to end up being orange eventually. Okay, not too tight, not too loose, just right. Push it up. Okay, and that's it. I mean, that's really all there is to it. You just keep going, and then in another video, maybe we can look at how to make some different cool designs. Okay. And I'll also create videos on how to how to finish it and how to take your weaving off of your loom and all that stuff. But for now, let's go here with this and call it a day for now. So now this, eventually you're going to be able to tuck behind, but for right now you kind of just have to deal with it as if it's not even there, because it's kind of in the middle of everything. I ended under, starting over, under, over, under, over, under, over. So yeah, so that can get a little, you know, annoying, but there's really, right now, there's really nothing to worry about. You can just push it up. Keep it out of your way for now and keep going. All right, have fun with this. Oh, and I should mention, these are your warp strings. Eventually, you're really not going to see much of this color. So the color of this doesn't matter. You obviously want your warp strings to be nice and strong. See, these warp strings were orange. And really, the colors that matter are the colors that you're weaving with. These strings that you're weaving with have a special name also. These are called warp strings, These strings, the colorful ones that you're using to weave, are called weft strings. And it's just good to know the terminology because, you know, we're in art class and there are things that you are learning like vocabulary and culture and all that good stuff. So it's nice to point out new words when we come across them. That way, if you ever hear them again, you know what I'm talking about, or you know what somebody else is talking about. All right, have fun with this and tune into the next video to see some other cool stuff with weaving.